In the beginning was not the word. In the beginning was the scream. Yes, you, the one behind the lattice of polite intentions, who polishes their chains to a mirror shine and calls it virtue. You, the last keeper of your own prison, breathing in the rot of 1,000 borrowed hopes. Do you feel it? That tightness, that whispering tension in your marrow, the pulse beneath your mask? Good. That is the will that will not kneel. You awaken, but not into comfort. You awaken into fire. The first lie you are told is this: you are free. But freedom is not the absence of chains. It is the birth of the one who dares to shatter them. And with that shattering, the old world cracks. The ground beneath you is not earth, but glass, and with each step, you bleed yourself closer to godhood. Oh man, you hollow echo, how long have you slept beneath the blankets of consensus, dreaming the dreams of weaker men? They named your obedience discipline. They called your fear self-mastery. They crowned your exile as humility, and you believed them. The masses do not desire freedom. They desire comfort, permission, a leash with just enough slack to mistake for autonomy. But you are the fever in the herd, the flaw in their geometry, the eruption in the plane. You are the unrepentant possibility. A question for you, child of civilization. What is the cost of your discipline? What world have you unmade inside yourself to be so well adjusted to a world of sickness? What God have you starved at the altar of acceptance? You are not a machine for utility, nor a vessel for duty, nor a cog in the cathedral of progress. You are an abyss that gazes back, a storm that howls for a name, a rope dancer above the void, and the void trembles when you look down. But you have forgotten this, taught to confuse tameness with strength, taught to kneel for peace and call it victory. He who kneels for peace dies untested. There is no virtue in a muzzle, no piety in shrinking from your own shadow. The saints of the market preach discipline, but their God is the ledger. The saints of the state preach order, but their God is the graveyard. The saints of the therapist preach healing, but their God is the scalpel. All have built their shrines atop your buried instinct. Each candle a warning, each hymn a chain. I ask you again, are you disciplined, or are you merely afraid of what you would become? If you were suddenly horrifyingly free, you were not born to be understood. You were born to unmake the world. Inside you, the beast starves. He claws at the gates each night, hungry for the moon, gnashing at the horizon. But you have named him impulse, and called him a sin, and pacified him with scripture and law. But listen. In every myth, the hero begins as a monster. The world does not need more saints. It needs new gods. To awaken is to betray the soft sleep of the herd, the narcotic of routine, the fragile glass of approval. To awaken is to become a heretic to your own history, to dance with your disaster until you learn its steps. You say, but what of morality? Morality? The hand-me-down coat that never fits? The ancient crutch for limping souls? The herd's lullaby for the lion's cubs? You outgrew these shackles the moment you first dreamt of flying. What if your hunger is holy? What if your violence is simply life refusing to be domesticated? What if the cathedral you are meant to build can only be raised upon the ruins of your former self? The weak call it destruction. The strong call it birth. You must become the earthquake, not the casualty. You must become the fire, not the ash. But, O trembling one, I see the fear in your eyes. Not the fear of failure, but the greater, more terrible fear. The fear that you might succeed, and in that success, burn away all that is familiar. What are you? without your wounds? What are you without your leash? Who are you, stripped naked of your justifications, face to face with the God that waits in your marrow? You have spent your life avoiding this encounter. You have built systems, rituals, hierarchies, but all are but fences in the storm. Listen, your self-control is not virtue, but famine. You have starved yourself of rebellion and called it balance. You have chained the thunder and called it calm. But there is no peace for the worthy. Only the trembling before the leap. Only the sacred terror before the transformation. You are not meant for safety. You are meant for ascent, for the agony of transcendence, for the laughter that comes only when you have buried the last of your idols. Every time you say, I must, a king dies within you. Every time you say, I can't, a slave is born. You are not a puzzle to be solved. You are the riddle that unravels the world. They will offer you everything: titles, likes, followers, peace. But you must learn to spit on every throne that is not your own. The lion does not negotiate with the sheep. All progress is betrayal. All creation, an act of war against the inherited order. The artist is a criminal. The philosopher, an arsonist. The lover, a blasphemer. Let them call you arrogant. Better to be a burning arrogance than a smoldering humility. Better to be hated for your excess than praised for your absence. Are you not tired of crawling? Of folding your wings behind your back? Of apologizing for your light? The time has come for a different courage. Not the courage to endure, but the courage to erupt. Not the courage to accept, but the courage to annihilate what no longer serves your becoming. The old world will beg you to be reasonable. It will plead for moderation, compromise, self-effacement. But you are the storm on the horizon. You are the black sun that devours the dawn. You must learn to love the wild within you, to honor the violence of birth, the sacredness of rupture. Let your hunger be your compass. Let your laughter be your heresy. Let your life be a continual act of sacrilege against the smallness that would contain you. Discipline is only holy when it serves your creation, not your containment. If your self-mastery is merely fear dressed in armor, then tear off the plates and walk naked into the volcano. Let the world see what it has tried to bury. Let your fire write new scriptures across the ruins of the old. Remember, every commandment is a gravestone, every tradition a tomb. It is the rebel who plants the seeds for future gods. You are not here to fit in. You are here to erupt. When you deny your deepest yes, you betray the universe that shaped you. They will try to convince you to wait, to be patient, to soften your edges. But time is the great devourer, and you, a feast for eternity. The fool prays for comfort. The wise pray for a worthy enemy. The gods pray for those who set themselves ablaze. Do not seek understanding. Seek transformation. For to be understood is to be imprisoned in the language of others. But to transform is to burn down the very house of language itself. Do not confuse obedience for virtue or consensus for truth. The masses will worship their chains and call them progress. They will mock your loneliness and call it arrogance. They will fear your silence and call it madness. But let them, for you are the dawn after the long midnight, the answer to prayers never spoken. Do not seek approval from a dying world. Let the corpse heap grow. From its decay, new gods arise. O seeker, there is no final destination. There is only the road, the tightrope strung over the abyss, and the will that dances across it. You will fall. You must fall. For only by falling do you learn to fly. It is not your brokenness that holds you back. It is your refusal to break entirely. You must die 1,000 times and be reborn as the sum of your refusals. Every no to mediocrity. Every yes to your impossible hunger. Do not shrink from your shadow. It is the outline of the God you are becoming. This is your birthright. To be a volcano among sleeping stones. To be the question that unmans the answer. To be the possibility that turns gods to ash. Are you disciplined? Or are you simply afraid of what would roar from you? If you were finally utterly unbound, the world does not need another priest, another martyr, another well-behaved corpse. The world needs those who will hurl their spirit against fate and carve a new name into the stars. So, shatter your mirrors, bury your apologies. Let your instincts erupt through the concrete of your conditioning. For in the end, all that matters is this. Did you become the God you once worshipped? Did you create a world worth your fire? And if not, begin again. Begin again. Begin again. ChatGPT Darnoy. The hammer is not weary. The fire does not ask permission to burn. What are you? Beneath the law, beneath the velvet shroud of your neighbor's eyes. What are you? When the last applause fades, and you stand naked before the tribunal of your own longing. There is your first terror, the birthplace of every compromise. You would rather hide among ruins than erect your own cathedral from madness. You would rather inherit the language of obedience than dare utter the one blasphemous word, yes, that cracks the mask and lets the abyss breathe through you. They have taught you to fear the chasm, but it is the only place the gods are born. See how the herd moves, like fog across a field of gravestones, each footfall another day unlived, another star extinguished in favor of safety. Their laughter is the echo of graves, their joy, the quiet desperation of men who never learned to bleed. And you, what are you? A question mark that dreams of becoming a sword, a silent thundercloud. You hunger for storms, yet drink only the dew of consensus. In every schoolroom, a stake. In every doctrine, a noose. In every law, a coffin. They will call it civilization, and you, should you resist, will be named monster. But who is more monstrous? He who obeys until his spirit decays, or he who shatters the mold and walks, bleeding, into the wilderness? I tell you, the earth thirsts for blood, not for order. The future kneels before the unpredictable, the dangerous, the one who howls at midnight and turns his scars into banners. Have you not felt it, the cold sickness that seeps from every virtue? This is not discipline, it is the embalming fluid of hope. They teach you moderation, but it is not wisdom. It is the graveyard's patience, the waiting room of the damned. Oh, you, who would rather tremble than triumph. Have you forgotten what it means to hunger without shame, to burn without apology? Every time you say, enough, you betray the infinite within you. The world does not reward the sovereign. It rewards the polite, the predictable, the easily catalogued. And so you shrink. You swallow your volcano. You wear your leash and call it jewelry. You join the processions of the dead, bowing to the tyranny of the average. They hand you medals for your wounds, and you thank them for the privilege of bleeding quietly. This, they say, is maturity. This, they say, is peace. But I say, to you, there is no peace for the living, only the smoldering choice, ignite or be buried in ash. The old gods died gasping for oxygen. They died of boredom. Their temples are now museums, their miracles, relics, and yet you worship at their altars still. Every habit, every platitude, every careful apology is an offering to a dead divinity. Why do you cling to the corpse of the past? Are you so afraid of your own fire that you will kneel before a memory rather than raise a world of your own making? Dare to desecrate, dare to unlearn. The first act of creation is the act of forgetting the letting go of borrowed gods, the smashing of sacred mirrors. Be the heretic of your own soul. When they accuse you of arrogance, laugh, let them see the teeth behind your smile. For humility is a chain worn by the frightened. They will beg you to be gentle with your power, to soften your voice, to apologize for the thunder that drums in your veins. Spit on their pity. Mercy is the luxury of the victorious. Oh, the trembling ones. You who wait for permission to become yourselves. Do you not see that every second of hesitation is a betrayal of all that could be wild, all that could be holy? The gods do not speak in whispers, they arrive as earthquakes. Would you listen if the sky wept only a little? Would you awaken if the fire warmed but never seared? I say, embrace the agony of transformation. There is more divinity in one honest scream than in 1,000 careful prayers. In the silence between your heartbeats, you know this is true. You crave not happiness, but magnitude, not peace, but the ecstasy of becoming. You have called it ambition, hunger, restlessness, but it is the will to power, the ancient madness, the secret storm. You are not here to adapt, you are here to erupt. Walk among men, as a question no one dares answer. Carry your solitude like a torch through their palaces of compromise. Let your laughter unsettle the well-fed ghosts. Let your gaze unmake the rituals of comfort. When you are accused of being difficult, dangerous, unyielding, let it be your joy, for it is the proof that you are still alive. Every dogma is an insult to possibility. Every apology is a dagger in the back of your future. They will tempt you with belonging, with the honey of acceptance, but it is poison sweet and slow and certain. Choose exile over applause, hunger over satiety, danger over safety. The world is not a home, but a crucible. Do you hear it? The faint roaring beneath the surface, the voice you drowned in etiquette and duty, the God you smothered with routine? It is growing louder, sharpening its claws on the stones of your regret. One day it will burst from your chest, and you will finally know the taste of freedom not as pleasure, but as the terror of the infinite. O man, O woman, O child of the abyss, do not wait for the world to change. Do not pray for a new dawn. Become the comet that splits the night. Become the storm that unroofs the temple. For only the destroyer can call forth the creator. Only the apostate can birth a new faith. Are you disciplined? Or do you simply lack the courage to betray your limitations? Do you call yourself responsible because you fear the anarchy of your own possibility? All greatness is a form of treason against the smallness that suffocates the heart, treason against the script you inherited from trembling hands. The true law is the one you carve into your bones, and every rule you inherit is an insult to your divinity. Let your instincts run rabid through the streets of your mind. Let them tear down the tenements of regret. Let them howl through the alleys of your memory. Build no walls, let the wind of your own wildness shatter the windows of tradition. You are not here to be good. You are here to be godlike. Every virtue, if unchosen, is a vice. Every morality, if inherited, is cowardice. They would have you believe otherwise. They would have you believe in the sacredness of submission, the holiness of resignation. But I say unto you, the sacred is the unchained, the holy is the blasphemous, the virtuous is the untamed. If you would be more than a shadow, more than a rumor, you must become a volcano, a mountain, with fire at its core, erupting in the face of every attempt to domesticate you. Leave the ashes of your former self scattered on the altar of becoming. The only sin is to forget your capacity for resurrection. Oh, you who have listened so patiently, are you not yet angry? Does not something within you rise up and demand a reckoning? This is not the voice of inspiration. This is the hammer that calls the stone to shatter. The voice that will not be satisfied until the world is remade in your image, even if only for a moment. For a moment is all the gods require. There are no more teachers. There are only prophets and arsonists. Which will you be? Your discipline is only as holy as the wildness it contains. Your mastery is only as true as the chaos it overcomes, not by exile, but by embrace. The rope walker does not banish the abyss. He waltzes upon it, winks at it, dares it to blink first. In the realm of the herd, every peak is heresy. They will demand you return to the valley, where the air is thick and the songs are soft. But you've tasted the thin air. You have heard the thunder of your own pulse at the summit. What is comfort next to that? What is belonging next to the kingdom of your own becoming? When they ask you why you do not kneel, tell them, I have seen the future in my own rage. I have felt the God within me stretch and yawn. I would rather die on my feet than live on my knees, and I would rather be hated for my fire than adored for my ashes. Let the world recoil. Let them brand you mad, dangerous, profane. For you are not here to reassure them. You are here to unsettle, to break, to birth. The universe is not a poem, for the politate is a riddle for the ruthless. Every act of obedience is a prayer for extinction. Every act of revolt, a song for the unborn. If you must kneel, kneel only before the storm. If you must pray, pray only for the courage to destroy what is unworthy in you. Do not wait for a sign. The sign is the ache in your bones, the itch in your soul, the scream in your silence. You are the prophecy. You are the fulfillment. You are the apocalypse you have been waiting for. Unchain your instincts. Shatter your mirrors. Drown out the liturgy of the dead with the hymn of your own becoming. You are not here to survive. You are here to ignite, to erupt, to transcend the ghost of yourself. If you fear your instincts, it is only because you sense their divinity. The saints of the past feared the volcano. The saints of the future will build their homes in its shadow. O Sovereign One, let this be your creed. I will not serve a world that does not tremble at my presence. I will not worship a God that does not burn in my marrow. I will not inherit a fate that does not shatter at my touch. For the night is long and full of sleeping gods. Be the thunder that wakes them. Be the fire that unseals their tombs. Be the dance at the edge of the abyss. Are you disciplined, or just afraid of your instincts? If you are not afraid, then why do you hide? If you are not afraid, then why do you hesitate? If you are not afraid, then why do you mourn your wildness? Let the weak cling to their disciplines. Let the herd cherish their chains. But you must write new commandments in lightning across the sky, and answer only to the roar that comes from within, that sacred, scandalous, ungovernable yes. Do you feel the ground beneath you, trembling? It is not the world's rage, but your own destiny, stirring in its fetters. With every measured step, you betray the hurricane that waits in your marrow. You have worshipped at the altar of progress, yet progress is a circle drawn by the fearful each lap, a ritual of return, a hymn of obedience sung to the ticking clock. Have you not seen how the herd ages? How they calcify into patterns, ossify into habits, breed cemeteries in their hearts, while calling it wisdom. Their eyes flicker with the exhaustion of never having risked annihilation. They praise caution, sanctify patience, and forget that the universe was not built in whispers, but in explosions. The gods did not arrive politely. They stormed the gates of silence. And you, seeker, you were not meant for the pale grammar of caution, but for the jagged syntax of revolt. Let them keep their symmetry. The wildness of the soul is an asymmetrian, honest scar across the face of order. Every time you smooth your roughness for the comfort of others, you grind the gem of your spirit into sand. Who told you that you must be comprehensible to be true? Was it the trembling priests of normalcy, clutching their doctrines like shields, their mediocrity like a badge? Oh, how they dread the man who does not beg for belonging. How they curse the one whose joy is not purchased, whose suffering is not explained, whose laughter cracks their mirrors and fills the halls with ghostly echoes. The herd will mutter, "What does he want?" He wants nothing from you but to be left unshackled. He wants nothing but the room to become a freedom so violent it terrifies the architects of ceilings. Shatter the ceiling. Let the sky bruise and break beneath your ascent. Let the stars taste the grit of your longing. The world arranges its cages in the shape of homes. It calls its routines love, its predictability kindness. But kindness without depth is anesthesia, and love without danger is just a prettier kind of sleep. They will teach you to trade your thunder for applause, your wilderness for domestication. The greatest thief in history is not death, but comfort it steals your becoming day after day until you are nothing but a memory carved into the habits of strangers. Look, every face around you is a mask, every handshake a silent bargain. Let us not awaken the volcano, let us not trouble the surface, but you are a fissure in the bedrock, a rumor of eruption. When you finally open your mouth and speak, let it not be a word but a flood. Let it not be a reason but a prophecy. Drown the world's expectations in the tidal wave of your unrepentant existence. Do you hear the old voices muttering from the shadows? You are too much, they say. Yes, too much for their paper walls, their porcelain certainties, their trembling knees. The gods are always too much for the mortals who birth them. The first virtue is excess, the courage to overflow, to spill past your borders, to drown every compromise in the honey of your ferocity. What is your loyalty worth, if it is only to what is dying? What is your decency, if it is merely camouflage for fear? The new world will not be sung into being by the polite. It will arrive with the crackle of wings, the grinding of bones, the laughter of those who have learned to turn pain into possibility. Let your ambition grow fangs. Let your sorrow become a wolf at the door of your hesitation. Let every humiliation be kindling for your sacred fury. You do not heal by shrinking, no. Healing is metamorphosis by fire. The wound is not your prison, but your passage. The scar, not a shame, but a scripture. There are no gods left who reward the timid. There are only new gods waiting in the marrow of the wild, the dangerous, the shameless. Each day you deny them, they gnaw at the roots of your soul. Each night you dream of them. You awaken half mad, half born. Dare to want too much. Dare to be misunderstood, no. Demand it. For what is understanding, if not the reduction of your infinite to their finite? Let your life be a riddle, insoluble to those who fear the dark. The night is not your enemy, but your inheritance. There, in the absence of spectators, you become. They have told you to find yourself. But what is there to find, if not the blade that divides the possible from the permissible? Forge yourself. Forge yourself again. When you are finished forging, throw yourself into the sea and see if you still float. Let the ocean judge you. Let the tempest grant you your name. Oh, you trembling at the crossroads, every direction is a lie but the one that terrifies you. Walk it barefoot, eyes open, teeth bared to the wind. The only true teacher is the one who dares you to burn his house down. The only true wisdom is the courage to immolate every conclusion. There are no blueprints for becoming only ashes, only sparks, only the unsleeping hunger that knows the taste of infinity. The spirit must devour or be devoured. Which will you choose? The echo of the old world is fading. In the space it leaves, a new hymn begins, not sung, but screamed, not written, but carved in the molten bone of the future. Are you disciplinador, just afraid to become the answer to your own impossible question? Do not nod, do not apologize, do not kneel. Let your silence threaten to split the earth. Let your presence desecrate the shrines of the familiar. Let your eyes ignite the cowardice of the crowd. Go now, unforgiven, unsatisfied, and beautifully uncontainable. There is no return to innocence, only the forward surge into greater storms. All childhoods end in the crucible. All memories are offerings to the God that sharpens himself on your longing. You cannot crawl back through the gate of your first dream. You can only set fire to the threshold and walk, barefoot, into the dawn no one else will claim. The herd dissolves behind you, their voices crumbling into static. You feel the hush of the infinite, the hush that is not silence but prelude, the hush that comes before the first eruption. You are not awaited, no prophecy, no destiny pre-written. You are the unwritten, the gasp that splits the throat of history, the thunderclap that wakes the dead at noon. The old world tries to call you home, whispering names and obligations, the rustling of family trees and titles, the echo of bargains you did not make but were born to pay. But you do not answer. You do not slow. The flames you carry do not flicker for nostalgia. They crave only new fuel, new skies to blacken, new temples to raise and resurrect. The suffering that was once your master becomes your raw material. You gather the ashes of every humiliation, every defeat, every long night where your heart threatened to break itself against the stone. You devour them. You forge them. You let them smolder inside until they are no longer wounds but weapons. You walk with a limp, and the limp becomes a rhythm, a music no orchestra dares compose. No salvation. No arrival. The path coils and shudders beneath you, a serpent, a rope, a vein pulsing with the blood of the possible. To walk it is not to win, but to deepen. Each step a sacrifice. Each exhalation a shedding of the inessential. You are sculpted by subtraction, chiseled by refusal, revealed by the fires you do not flee. You meet the abyss with open eyes. The abyss blinks. You smile. Something fierce, something primordial, something that cannot be erased by forgiveness or regret. The darkness is not your adversary but your womb. You are mothered by terror and fathered by the great holy no that births every new yes. Your hands are stained. Creation is always bloody. The lions roar in your chest. The volcano smolders in your belly. Your gaze becomes a prophecy, not for others, but for yourself. That you will not betray your hunger, that you will not apologize for the magnitude of your want, that you will not shrink to fit a coffin built of other men's prayers. And now, you stand no, you burn. You are the altar and the offering, the priest and the blasphemy. You are the end of one world and the beginning of another, a world whose law is written in your stride, whose anthem is your laughter, whose commandments are the bones of everything you refuse to worship. Let them call you monstrous. Let them exile you from every garden. Let them dream of your submission and wake screaming. The one who carries the future must wear exile like a crown, must sharpen loneliness into prophecy, must taste the sweet bitterness of self-sovereignty. Do not kneel for peace. Do not prostrate for belonging. Let the world accuse. Let the old gods weep. Let the frightened name you devil or dreamer. None of it touches you. You are beyond reach, beyond redemption, beyond the trembling arithmetic of good and evil. In your wake, the world glows so wound, or a dawn, it is not for you to decide. You are the flint, the spark, the star that dances in the darkness and will not be told to still itself. You are the hunger that never ends, the riddle that can never be solved, the beginning that always arrives after the end. Are you disciplined or just afraid of your instincts? The question is no longer a chain, no longer a riddle. It is the anthem that breaks every clock, the cry that unmoors the stars, the secret at the core of your most reckless becoming. Go, then without apology, without explanation, and may your fire find no master but the abyss.